Hello everyone, welcome to my Microsoft Paint tutorial. In this series, we'll learn how to use Microsoft Paint to its fullest potential. Microsoft Paint is often joked as being a stupid tool with no uses. Well, that is completely false. Microsoft Paint, although with its limitations, is a powerful tool that you can use in any Windows computer with relative ease. It's not as good as Photoshop or other image softwares, but if you learn to work around its quirks, it can be very helpful in your day-to-day life. In this lesson, we'll learn how to use the different colors and brushes in the software. Now, Microsoft Paint has two default colors, black and white, and a small array of other colors you can pick. Color 1 will be the color of the foreground. Whenever you have a brush such as this pencil and you'll draw in color 1. Color 2 will be the color of the background. If you right click when using a brush, you'll paint with the color of the background. When you delete selections, you'll also fill that area with the color of the background. In future lessons, we'll explore selections a bit more. For now, I just want you to understand that color 2 is very important for erasing, and color 1 is the one you'll use to paint. Now, um, Microsoft Paint has also different colors other than um, black and white. And you can choose these colors by selecting the color you want to change, either color 1 or color 2, and picking the color that you wish to use. This way, I'll be painting in red and erasing in blue. Note that if I select an area now and delete it, or if I pick up the eraser, it will also paint in blue, because that is the color of the background we defined. If I want a different background color, I can come to Edit Colors. It will start with the color I have currently selected. And here you have different preset colors you can use, or you can drag around and choose whichever color you want, or write the hue of that color. When you create a new color, it will be saved here in this empty row below the default colors, and you can pick it whenever you want for either color 1 or color 2. If you have too many custom colors, they, as you'll see in a moment, they start by erasing the last one. Now say I wanted to get this yellow color back. What I would do is pick the color picker and select the color. Now if I want to save it again, all I need to do is click in Edit Colors and OK, and it will be saved as the newest color. And now I can paint it again and switch between other colors and then get back to it. Right, so we've learned about colors. What about brushes? Well, Microsoft Paint has this section called brushes. If you click this arrow, you'll have all the different brushes you can use. You'll have a normal painting brush, an ink pen that has sort of a diagonal look to it. Have another one with a different orientation. You have a spray can. You'll have the bigger brush. You have the crayon. you have the marker, and you have the pencil, and a different brush, a bigger one this time. I want to note a couple of things. First one is that you can use any of these brushes um, with right or left click, as we discussed previously. The second is that the last brush, the watercolor brush, and this brush, the oil brush, both have a finite length they can paint. I didn't stop clicking here, it just went out. That's how these two work. Whilst if I pick the marker, for example, I can draw all I want. Okay. Another note I want to leave is that the marker and the watercolor brush have transparency, as you can see in the places where they intersect. This can be useful for mixing colors, for example. Can also be a bit confusing if, for example, you take a sharp turn and suddenly you have this area here with transparency, because the transparency here, contrary to software like Photoshop, is added um, at every moment and not only on each stroke. So you don't need to lift the mouse to apply the transparency. It will be applied automatically, which can be either good or bad depending on what you want. Finally, I want to say that the sizes of these brushes can be adjusted here. And this works for all of them. The default size for them is different. So just because the marker, when you pick it, is bigger, doesn't mean I can't paint a bigger picture with this brush. You just need to learn how to use sizes, which we'll discuss in a minute. Lastly, I want to advise you to not use any of these brushes. Why? Well, very simple. If I decide to paint everything black, you'll notice that if we zoom in, uh, they're all surrounded by this white area. This is because the paint bucket in MS Paint only paints pixels that are exactly the same color as the pixel you selected. If it's a little bit more red, then it won't paint. And because these brushes try to leave a gradient, these white pixels are a little bit red, as you can see if we come here. They're slightly red, and that is enough for the paint bucket to not paint it. The exclusion with this is the marker. The exception with this is the marker, which, although not perfect, is slightly better at maintaining a constant color, as you can see here. If you want to have a decent outline you can paint, you need to use the pencil. Now, you might say, oh, but the pencil is too small, and your first instinct is to click the brush, which paints bigger. However, you can come here to size and increase the size of the pencil. And even if you do so, the pencil will stay sharp. As you can see, there is no edge between the edge we drew and the area we filled. Also on the same note, if you want something such as the pencil to have a thicker line than the maximum size, you can just on your keyboard press Ctrl and plus. You press it a couple of times and suddenly the pencil is much thicker, but it still maintains its properties. This is valid for all brushes, as I'll demonstrate, for example, with a spray can. I press it a couple of times, you can see that the size increased. Press it even more times, I have a bigger stroke. Now, if you want to visualize this, some tools like the normal brush can show you at each moment what you're doing. Now it does also have a maximum size, but it's very big, and I assure you it will probably be enough for most applications you'll have in MS Paint. There is also a minimum size, which is always 1 pixel. This is the default size for the pencil when you first open the program, and that's why the pencil is usually discarded, because people think that it's too small and they can't use it. All you need to do is increase the size. Every brush maintains its properties. For example, if I put the marker at its smallest size, as you can see here, I can go even smaller. It will still have transparency. Also note that some brushes, such as the default brush, only set their full transparency after you finish the stroke. For example, if you pay attention, I'm still holding the mouse. The moment I release it, it changes a bit. So if you're writing something with the brush, like say hello, and you're not happy with how it turned out, it will look slightly different when you release it. So you should also keep that in mind. Lastly, like in any software, you can use Ctrl-Z to erase whatever you've done. There is a maximum number of Ctrl-Z's you can use due to your computer's memory, but it always works at least on the last 1 or 2 strokes. That's all for today. Thank you for coming, and I hope you learned something today. Bye bye.